All right, what is up, everyone? It is the Osmo.com NHL Hit the Ice show. We have an 11-game slate with some huge contests on both sites, and some of them already filling over on DraftKings. I'm joined by Steve Homercleese Bauer, who is ready to be 40K richer tonight, right, Steve?
Yeah, let's hope so. Got a couple entries in the 888 on DraftKings, so I got my fingers crossed for some good luck tonight.
Yeah.
Hopefully my goalies don't suck.
Has that been your downfall lately, the goalies?
No, just in general.
Yeah,
You always got to hope for goalie luck.
Right, yeah, you need the guy who gets the shutout or whatever. That would
Yeah,
be
just
nice.
don't give up 4 goals, please.
Right.
I'll settle for an average night.
Just give me the win, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's the worst. You got a good lineup and you're not MMEing, and you know it's just your goalie gives up 4 goals, like you said, and you just get crushed. Did I miss the FanDuel 444 large attorney, or did they cut it back today? They cut it back today. They did the $7 150. Is that what it was, Steve?
Yep. Yeah, $7 150. I think it's 10K up top, and then they just shrunk the 444.
Okay.
Made it $1,000 up top instead of the usual 5.
Okay. Yeah. So some different contests. For me, like, I would rather have it be like an MME night, but I think I'm just playing a 20 max on DK and then going with one lineup, like one main lineup. So should be fun. Got an entry in that 888, and I don't know. Hopefully can top 5 it and have some nice cash for the holidays here. But Bobrovsky,
I do like the structure on that. The 2 times the min payment, the two extra money back. So that's pretty good. Pretty flat structure overall.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not bad at all.
Yeah, I think just under 20% get paid too, which is perfect.
Yeah.
So
and 6 max too, right? So it's pretty reasonable.
Yeah. So Alex will only have 6 entries. It'll be tough to beat him, but yeah, like Alex, testosterone. There's actually quite a few guys that are throwing like 5 or 6 in there. I saw. So for me, that just means I'm gonna get away from 4-3-1, but nothing else really changes. Maybe just a tweak here and there, leave off one guy here, and not the full correlation, but you only have to beat 199 entries compared to when you have to beat 5,000, like if you play the $8 on a different night.
Yeah, I think it's fine to stick with the basic structure in that contest because it's only 6 max, so it's not like people can cover every combination. So.
True. Who is testosterone crushes nightly? Yeah, testosterone does crush nightly. One of the best players, maybe the best player in NHL DFS.
Well, best at MME, I would say.
Yeah.
Very, very strong skills in that regard.
Yeah. Awesome at MME.
Yep.
Someone that I've been studying lately, and I'm sure you have too, Steve. So.
Yeah, and that's a skill in its own right. Just the DFS side of it, making a good portfolio of lineups, for sure.
I noticed a couple top players had 3 number 1D in their lineups last night. Thought that was an interesting strategy. Who was that Devils 4 Cup? Who had...
I mean, it's a common cash game strategy to use defensemen because their floors are higher in general. So it's also possible people just entered their cash lineups.
Yeah, for sure. And I think just D-men are easier to predict. The top D-men are easier to predict. So
yeah, because of the floors. Also, it was a 5-game slate too, so I think you can get away with a little bit more uncommon strategies.
For sure. All right, should we talk about any ownership things off the top? Like, are you seeing anything that's jumping out as chalk on this 11-gamer?
Well, I just like to look at who the big favorites are and what kind of spots they're in. Just right off the bat, it seems like Tampa Bay. I said Winnipeg earlier. I imagine they would be popular just based on how good the top line's been playing recently, and they're playing against LA, who's the worst team in the league. So I kind of see some ownership there, but I would say probably Tampa Bay, and Philly's kind of creeping up a little bit as far as heavy favorites. So, but they've split up their lines, so maybe nothing to worry about there. But in net, I would say Carter Hart making his debut will be chalk tonight on DraftKings. He's only 7K, and he's the biggest favorite on the slate. So
yeah, minus 185 right now, somewhere around there.
Yeah. Otherwise, I don't see anything too chalky on the slate.
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a few good top lines. I don't know. Yep. There's not like a clear spot where everyone's going to go to, or like everyone can identify as the best spot. Maybe if Tampa was at home, that would probably be it. But on the road, just road teams get less steam in general. So,
Sure.
yeah, I agree. I don't think like Winnipeg, same thing. I don't think that you're gonna have to worry about ownership too much, which is good. So just play your best lineups, play the best plays, and hopefully variance goes your way tonight. All right, let's do this. Florida and Buffalo. We have a 2.8 implied total for the Panthers, 3.2 for the Sabres. Roberto Luongo, Carter Hutton in net. One of these top lines here that's at home. We've got Buffalo's #1 line, full power play correlation against Florida, who's had troubles at 5-on-4 this season, or I guess 4-on-5 it would be. What do you see in this game, Steve? Anything that jumps out to you?
It's pretty much just the top lines on both teams here. I don't think there's any reason to go to the Sabres' depth. At least they haven't given us any reason to do that just yet, even though Florida's depth's pretty weak defensively. So it's pretty much just the top line. They get so much usage, the Eichel line there. I think they're in a really good spot, just given that they do see a lot of time against the opposing team's depth. So strong matchup. They've been hot so far. Really good at 5-on-5, and they get a favorable power play matchup here, despite their lack of success there.
Yeah. Yep, that's exactly where I'm thinking here. I didn't get to these guys in my main lineup, either side, unless something drastic changes. But right now, I don't have either side of this. But I am going to have some of that Buffalo 1 in, like, if I do 20 other lineups that I'm putting in the lower dollar stuff. Definitely going to get to some Buffalo 1 at the very least. Do you like anything else below the top lines? I know you kind of mentioned that's where your focus is on this game, but any other lines you want to mention or one-offs?
I mean, the Florida second line is a line I'm keeping an eye on. They just got put together last game against the Leafs and didn't really do much. Defensively, they weren't very strong at all. So, but I mean, you just look at the offensive talent there. The Dadonov, Vetrano, and Borgstrom. They look like they could put something together in the right matchup. I don't know if this is the right matchup for sure. You could make a case if you really need a cheap line, but I think you probably get better options. They're around 1,300 on both sides, so not enough of a discount, I think, for me.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where I'm at as well. And then we've got some defensemen to talk about here: Yandel, Ekblad, and then Dahlin and Ristolainen. Dahlin's prices come up a little bit, but is it pretty obvious here you just stack the top lines with the power play quarterbacks?
Yeah, I think so. If you look at Yandel's price now, he's 5,100. He's tied for the league lead in power play points, and so I think if you get him at a decent enough price, he makes for a great correlation play with the top line there, who's all on the power play.
Yeah, much.
And yeah, I was just gonna say, and then on the Buffalo side, you have Dahlin again, very cheap with the correlation on the power play as well.
Is he still playing massive minutes the last couple of games? I haven't looked into him. 19, 24, 21, so he's still up there, but
it gets up and down.
Yeah. Scandella, I think, is returning tonight. He's 2,600. I guess you can punt with him, but he's not even my favorite guy in that price range, I don't think. He doesn't really do all that much from like a attempting shots standpoint.
Yeah.
Luongo or Hutton for 8,200 for Hutton, 7,100 for Luongo here. Either of these guys you like?
Yeah, I think they're okay. Hutton's been strong at home. I just don't know. I'm not heavy on either of these goalies. Like, I don't have a great feeling about either one in this matchup. So I don't know. I think they're both fine, but not really top targets for me, I would say.
All right, let's move it on then. We have Toronto and the New Jersey Devils, 3.5 implied total for the Leafs, 3.1 for the Devils. Going to be Frederik Andersen, I think, for the Leafs, and then Keith Kincaid for New Jersey here. And I kind of overlooked New Jersey 1 here. That's the main line I'm looking at. But I also like Tavares Marner, that combo with Hyman, without him. Depending on your preference there, what's sticking out to you here, Steve?
Well, right off the bat, it seems like a very strong expected goals matchup for each team. They're both generating at a high clip and giving up a decent amount too. So right away, I do expect this to be a high scoring game. So I do like both sides here. The Leafs, obviously, they split up their lines. One thing to keep an eye out for, I didn't see the Leafs skating today or yesterday I didn't get any line combos from practice that I'm fully aware of. But I noticed in the last game against Florida, they were losing going into the third period. They switched their lines up in the third period. They went back with Matthews, Nylander, Hyman, and they swapped Tavares and they swapped Tavares and Matthews there. So yeah, Matthews, Nylander, Hyman, the line from last year, and then they put Tavares with Johnson and Kapanen, and then they reunited the Kadri, Marner, Marlowe line from last year as well. This was just in the third period last game, and I haven't been able to see anything. Maybe just something to keep an eye on in warm-ups in case they do something screwy like that.
Yeah, I didn't catch that. So for sure, want to keep an eye out for that one. This game locks at 7 Eastern, so it'll lock when the slate starts. So you'll know a half an hour or so before if the beat writers decide to tweet the lines out. We had one of those situations last night with Columbus where they tweeted them out like a minute after lock, or like maybe it was like a minute before lock. You just had basically no time.
I'm convinced they were withholding information there intentionally.
Why?
I don't know the reason why, but you have that colored printout with the line combinations that, it's clearly been prepared enough time before the game to have that ready to go. People know the information. They just chose not to tweet it.
Huh. Interesting. You think that's just a Columbus thing, or?
Maybe the coaches told them not to tweet it or something. Maybe that's possible. I don't know.
Okay.
Beyond that, I don't know why they wouldn't do it. I'm sure they had the information earlier.
Yeah.
And they're at the rink watching the line changes. They're watching the line rushes. You couldn't look on the ice and see that.
Well, one of the beat writers said that they thought it was Bjorkstrand.
That was just speculation. It was just a guess. Yeah.
Well, no, one of them said that they thought they saw Bjorkstrand skating in line rushes on the top line, but it was Duclair. And it's like,
he kind of knows the difference. Similar. Yeah. Skin color's a little different there.
Yeah. Of course, he got Duclair and worked out great. I don't know if he's trolling, but yeah. Kurt Schilling was losing it. That's fine. We're okay with that.
Yeah, I saw him tweeting at the beat writers.
They definitely had the lines early. My guess is just laziness. Could be. Some beat writers don't give a shit.
I find there's a couple of good ones in Columbus, I find. So I was a little surprised there.
Yeah, I've never had any issues getting information. I mean, I don't tweet at them, but they always volunteer it seems like. So.
When they have it, yeah, they're pretty quick with putting it out there. It's a matter with their coach, though. Like, Tortorella's a bit of a nut job. So. Yeah,
for sure. All right, so we've got the return of Taylor Hall. I believe he missed a game or two. And did you mention, do you have a favorite line, even like knowing that Toronto mixed him up in the third period?
Assuming we go with these line combos, I think the Matthews line is the most interesting to me because the way teams have been matching so far, it's they've been treating the Tavares line as the top line. So I think you could probably see the Taylor Hall, Hischer, and Palmieri line go against them.
Sure.
Although, you don't know exactly what they have in mind. But the Matthews line has been generating like really strong 5-on-5 numbers. They've been generating the most offense so far of the three lines in recent games. So I kind of like them the best. And if they do tend to match up against that Zaka, Johansson and Bratt line, then I think that's probably the best matchup. They're the worst of the top three lines defensively.
Yeah.
So I slight lean towards Matthews there, but the lack of power play correlation kind of sucks.
Right.
I think.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing with the Leafs now. Now that they got Nylander back, it just like splits things up even more.
Yeah.
So I always, not always, but I usually lean towards Tavares and Marner just because they're the ones with good correlation on that top power play.
Yeah.
So that's probably where I'm at right now. I'm not going to have a ton of exposure to any of the three Toronto lines.
No.
New Jersey won, as you see, Osmo has them graded as very good values. I do as well. If you look at my projections, they're one of the top values. I kind of overlooked them earlier, but I really like Hall and Palmieri especially. He's perfectly fine fill-in. The only problem with him is he's not on the top power play. And maybe he gets switched back on there, who knows. But this line did have success against Tavares and Marner when these two teams faced off in Toronto. They played against each other a bunch in that game. And the Hall line got the best of them from a shot attempts perspective, and then scoring chances and high danger chances, all that stuff. Reverse line movement, Sharps on the Devils, even better. I don't really look at that, but yeah, I really do like this Devils top line. I've warmed up to them as the day's gone on.
Yeah, if you're going to play a handful of lineups, I like taking the reliability of the Taylor Hall line there. Mm-hmm. You never know on the Leaf side who's going to be scoring the goals or how it's going to go down. Whether, now we have the question marks, maybe they change it if things aren't going well. Because they would like to eventually get Matthews back with Nylander, so they're just kind of inching towards those line combos. So I don't know. There's so little reliability, and they're kind of take away each other's upside there. Mm-hmm. They kind of cancel each other out on the Leaf side just because there's so many mouths to feed. So that's a little trickier. And Hall just dominates the ice time and everything. So it's way easier to just go with New Jersey 1 here. I feel very confident in playing them. And then the Leaf side, it would only be an MME, I think, just mixing and matching, trying to have some of each line. I think all three lines are viable. But, yeah, slightly lean towards the Matthews line there.
Okay. Any defensemen or goalies that you want to mention here?
Riley's too expensive. That's $6,600 there, so don't love him. Yeah, nothing really stands out for me here.
Yeah, I've got really nothing on the defenseman, so I was just wondering if maybe you did, but yeah.
Nah, not really.
Any of these guys. And then
yeah.
Kincaid as a cheap option, going to see a lot of shot volume. It's not pretty, but decent win equity, and if he can hold them to 2 or 3 goals, I think he's going to pay off at $7K if he can get a win.
It's possible. I will most likely just take the path of least resistance and play Carter Hart at that price, though. But yeah.
Yeah. Ownership pivot for sure.
Yeah. So that would be an MME play. I would include Kincaid and allow him in New Jersey stack, something like that. But at that price, preferred play would be Hart.
Sure. All right. Ducks and Rangers. We have a 2.7 implied total for the Ducks, 3 for the New York Rangers. Not sure who it's going to be for Anaheim, if they're going to go Gibson on the back-to-back. I don't know if you saw anything about this, or if it's going to be Chad Johnson, I believe.
Yeah, interesting.
It could be Chad Johnson. That would be very helpful for the Rangers skaters. Anyone that's not John Gibson is obviously going to be an upgrade for them. 2 viable lines on the Rangers, Ducks on the back-to-back. Only a 3 total, but you think the Rangers are going to be popular here?
I think so, maybe in the higher stakes. Mm. They grade out as the Rangers' second line there, the Hayes, Kreider, Buchnevich line. Really solid underlying numbers there. Yeah. Puck possession numbers, scoring chance numbers, very solid. And I believe they will avoid the Getzlaf line at even strength. It looks like the Rangers have in general been using Zibanejad as the shutdown guy. Yep. So you get a matchup against most likely the Kessler line, which is terrible defensively recently, or for the last couple of years. So I really do like that Rangers second line. That's my favorite option in this game, and they're one of my favorite value stacks tonight. I know you're on them as well.
Yeah, you said it best. I mean, you laid out everything. Kessler line, not good. Good underlying numbers, and they're short sample. So Ducks back-to-back, maybe a backup goalie here. Like, it's just really shaping up as a solid filler stack at the very least for this Hayes, Kreider, Buchnevich.
So, and I think, you and I both arrived at the same conclusions on this line. I imagine all the other players that look at these kind of stats and numbers, factors or whatever, they'll probably all arrive at the same conclusions there. So that's why I do expect them to be one of the more popular value stacks tonight.
Okay. Yeah. I was hoping they would go a little bit overlooked, but you're probably right. Anyone that looks at natural stat trick and looks at line combination numbers and stuff probably is going to be on this one. Yeah,
and I'm not talking like 20% or anything ridiculous on this side of the slate. Yeah, but maybe like close around the 10% range. Mm-hmm. Certainly one of the higher owned value stacks.
For sure. Yeah. What about that Zibanejad, Zuccarello, and Hedl line?
So that'd be an interesting pivot. I don't love that they're likely to see a lot of time against Getzlaf, but if you look at the Getzlaf line underlying numbers there, while their possession numbers are strong, their high danger chances against haven't been strong. Yep. So I wouldn't completely fade that, and I think it's a reasonable pivot. The other thing is I forgot to look at what the Rangers power play correlation or setup is here, because I noticed just looking the Ducks themselves have been giving up a lot of power play opportunities, and they have 2 refs tonight that are both giving a lot of calling a lot of penalties, giving a lot of power play opportunities. So I think the Rangers power play is very strong spot tonight.
Yeah, Corsi in chat, Rags PP, fire emoji. He's right there with you. We were talking earlier. He likes the Rangers here. So yeah, maybe a little bit more popular than what I thought this morning. But two lines will probably eat some ownership off of each other, which is fine. Two guys on the top power play on each of the top two lines. So take your pick here, but I lean towards the Hayes, Kreider, Buchnevich line. I like their even strike matchup a little bit better.
Yeah.
Anything on the Ducks here or any defenseman you're looking at?
I don't love them on the back-to-back. That Getzlaf line is still worth play, I think. The Zibanejad-Zuccarello line wasn't strong defensively in their couple games together.
Yeah.
So I think they're maybe worth a shot, but I just don't love the back-to-back really on the road.
Right.
On the slate.
Yeah, that's the only thing that I'm having trouble getting past is the back-to-back. 11 games, like there's so many options. They are priced down a little bit.
Good price, yeah.
Yeah, like if I go to an Anaheim line and if in my other 20, if I end up doing that, it's going to be a sprinkle of Anaheim 1, and that's really about it.
Yeah.
Pionk for 4K, you like that price a little bit?
I do, given what we talked about with the power play matchup, for sure.
Yeah, that's my guy tonight. Pionk for 4K. And anyone else on this Rangers defense, Shea or D'Angelo, not Mark Stahl probably for 2,700.
Nah.
Okay. All right.
Not for me. I'll just stick with Pionk. I'll go pretty heavily on Pionk, I think.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Georgiev or Chad Johnson if they go?
Hell no on Chad Johnson. But if Gibson goes, maybe I throw a dart there. 7,500 is a pretty good price for him.
Yeah.
I'll be keeping a close eye on that, see who the goalie is. Georgiev, I don't love him as a goalie in general, but you get a team on a back-to-back, your home favorite, 7,400. Pretty worth a stab there.
Yeah. Georgiev, he's kind of the guy that I was eyeing down a little bit as a correlation play. I plan on correlating most of my goalies with stacks tonight, so he's going to be in my pool for sure. Red Wings and Flyers, we have a 2.9 implied total for the Red Wings, 3.6 for the Flyers. Looks like Jimmy Howard and Carter Hart, the guy we've mentioned a couple times. 7K Carter Hart at home, probably going to be chalk, relative chalk on an 11-game slate. But what do you see in this game overall, Steve? New Flyers lines as well.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, new line combos. So I'd really like to see, or I'd wish I had a better idea of what they're going to do, if they're going to line match or whatever. New coach too. That's pretty big. So you can throw all their old strategy out the window. I think it's their assistant coach. Could be wrong. So maybe they just carry forward what they've been doing until he can implement something. But I don't know. I like Philly here. If ideally you'd like to play against the second line for Detroit or the depth lines. I think it's probably likely we see Couturier line against Larkin. That's just a guess, though. It's not really based on anything.
Couturier and Simmons, yeah. I think that's a pretty good assumption.
Yeah, so we probably see that. And then it sets up the Drew line to go against the weaker Detroit depth lines there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Philly hasn't played at home in a while, I don't think. I think they've been on a road trip. Trying to see. Yeah, so we don't really know what they're doing defensively since they've changed these line combos. So, it's just going to be guessing. My assumption is that we probably see Couturier play a decent amount against Larkin.
Okay.
Their line, defensively, nothing scary since they've been they only played 21 minutes together, that line, I think. Numbers looked really good, but in a longer sample of Couturier with Voracek, they haven't been good defensively. So it's you're just kind of guessing how they're going to be. I still think that the Detroit top line is worth a shot here. Just going against the chalky Carter Hart, I think they make for a decent leverage play. Their high danger scoring chance numbers are very strong. They've been scoring a lot of goals. Philly penalty kill hasn't been great, although most of that's been due to goaltending. So who knows if Hart can come in here and shore that up. Yeah. But in general, I'm kind of eyeballing the Giroux line and the Larkin lines here.
Yeah, we're on the same page today. So Giroux line And then I think it's an awesome MME play, or even like maybe like a 3-max play with this Detroit top line. You mentioned the high danger chances. They've been very good in that category. Larkin and Nyquist have been clicking, and then you've got the super cheap Ablocator if you want to include him, or you can go down to a guy like Gurianov, if you don't want to play Ablocator, which I wouldn't blame you if you didn't want to. But yeah, it's just kind of a tough one because there's not a ton of data on these lines for the Flyers, but it's a huge total, and the Red Wings commit a bunch of penalties, so it is in theory a good power play spot as well. But yeah, I think I do lean towards the Giroux line as well. Some defensemen here. Gostisbehere, price keeps dropping. Osmo has him as an A value. And no Mike Green, obviously, for the next bit for the Red Wings. So I don't really see anything there. But what are you doing with these Flyers defensemen? Is it still Gostisbehere for you?
It looks like it's a pretty decent power play matchup for them, despite their lack of success. I mean, they're the third worst power play in the league so far, but with that talent and what they've done in the past, I wouldn't consider them the third worst power play. But Detroit's penalty kill is giving up a lot of unblocked shot attempts, and their expected goals against are pretty bad on the penalty kill. So I think it's a pretty solid spot for Gostisbehere to get back at it. At least he's got some upside. I don't consider him necessarily the strongest floor play, but I guess the other really appealing part is of this, maybe the second line or the Couturier line, is that they're all together on the power play there.
Yeah, I think that'll draw some people to them. Yeah.
And I think they grade out as Osmo's favorite line of the game there of Philly lines. So it's a line I don't want to completely fade. I think the power plays on both sides here are worth a look. Yeah,
for sure. I forgot how bad Philly was on the kill.
Yeah, but if you look at the underlying numbers, it's mostly goaltending. Their unblocked shot attempts aren't too bad. Expected goals against on the penalty kill are middle of the road. They are taking a decent amount of penalties, though.
All right. And then what do you see yourself doing with Carter Hart at chalk, especially at the higher stakes, right? He's going to be pretty chalky.
Yeah. He's a very strong value. So I'll play a lot of them. I'll have a lot of them, but I'll also have some Detroit there to prepare for the worst.
Yeah. Let's see. Got to catch up on chat here. Is Hall back today? Yes, Hall is back today. Huey. Jake, like New Jersey won. Yep, that is true. Detroit won, could win the 888 today. That is true. I guess they could. The Carter Hart play is scary. Goalie have been pretty much hung out to dry in the last few games for Philly with a lack of effort in the defensive zone and a ton of defensive turnovers. New coach narrative.
So talking about lack of effort and all that, new coach, rookie goalie coming in, you probably want to try a little harder for the guy. His first NHL start, you tend to see them try their hardest defensively. So I don't know. There's a lot of narratives there.
This guy's only 20 years old.
Yeah. Wow. He's a good prospect. Yeah. He's heated up recently in the AHL as well.
Okay. Yeah.
He played some in the preseason. I think he was pretty decent.
Okay. So yeah, not just some random guy that took off the street. He's not Chad Johnson. So
yeah.
All right. Yeah, I like it. I don't think I'm going to end there on my main lineup, but he's going to be probably my most owned goalie in the 20 others that I do in the low dollar stuff, just because it's really tough to pass up that value when you're multi-entering.
Yeah.
All right, Sharks and the Wild. We have Martin Jones going up against Devin Dubnyk. 2.9 implied total for the Sharks, 3.1 for the Wild. New-ish Wild lines, Zucker and Koivu returning on the third line with Luke Kunin. And then Jordan Greenway, it appears, is going to stay up on that top line with Stahl and Granlund. So no Zucker, Stahl, Granlund for me. I'm kind of off of Minnesota, and I'm kind of off this game all over the place, except for maybe some San Jose 2. What about you, Steve?
You mean the Pavelski line?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like those Minnesota lines, but I also don't think they're terrible defensively. I wouldn't expect them to be too bad defensively. So this game's kind of like, I don't see anyone being able to go off too score a bunch of goals here, or at least being able to pinpoint who it would be, because everything's kind of spread out between all three lines on both teams. So it's kind of just a stay away game for me in general. If I'm playing anyone on Minnesota, I mean, so both penalty kills are very good. Minnesota's been getting most of the offense from the power play, and their best 5-on-5 line had been the Coyle, Niederreiter, Parise line. So if I'm playing anyone on their team, it's going to be that second line for Minnesota,
Okay.
the Coyle line. They're a reasonable price, decent even strength numbers, and some of the Sharks lines are giving up a decent amount of high danger chances against. So I don't hate that. Minnesota's been so strong at home. They just lost Dumba, so I guess that hurts their power play even more. But defensively, it shouldn't be a huge difference. Now they're getting back Koivu. So in general, I'm pretty much I would probably only play that Minnesota second line, and that's about it from this game.
Yeah, I don't hate that call. I mean, good value on them for sure. With Niederreiter and Coyle both at 4,200, and they have good numbers together.
Yeah.
I've been seeing top competition. I don't know exactly how that's going to work tonight with Koivu returning.
Yeah.
So it's just a lot of unknowns here, and like you said, everything's spread out on really both teams.
Yeah.
It's not that appealing for me either side.
Yeah, exactly. There's too many unknowns going on here, so I think this game's not a priority. Probably sprinkle in a little bit in MME, try to have a small amount of everybody, but
for sure.
Beyond that, it's not. I wouldn't target anyone here.
For sure. Carlson or Burns, either of those guys looking good to you in like a one-off scenario, or like you mentioned, the Wild's penalty kill. Well, both teams' penalty kills are very good, so they might be a bit overpriced for a road matchup. I don't know.
Yeah.
What are you thinking here?
Yeah, I think that's kind of tough. Burns is getting most of his points on the power play, so.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't love it. I think a guy like Bufflin is cheaper than both of them. I'd much rather play him tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the problem too. And like Yossi's cheaper than Burns, and you saw what Yossi could do last night.
Yeah, he's on a back-to-back, but it's still a much better matchup.
Right. Yeah, we're on the same page here again. Taking a shot on either Jones at that trappy price for 7,300 or Burns for 78.
Never Jones.
Never Jones, yeah.
Dubnyk, reasonable. Well, he's reasonable. I'll take a shot on him.
Yeah.
At home. He hasn't been spectacular, but he's capable of some good games. And San Jose puts enough volume on.
Wild are due to go off. I mean, they just had back-to-back games like 7 and 5 goals, I'm pretty sure. So,
yeah, at home they do. They always go off.
Yeah, they're awesome at home, but the Sharks are tough. No matter what their record says or how disappointing they've been. They're not just like an easy target you fire up everyone against. All right, let's go to, speaking of Yossi, Nashville against Chicago. Nashville, as you mentioned, on a back-to-back, could be seeing UC Saros here against Cam Ward. No Corey Crawford for the foreseeable future. Looks like he had another concussion, so that sucks for the Blackhawks. Bad season gets worse. But 3.3 implied total for the Preds on a back-to-back on the road is pretty telling what Vegas thinks of the Chicago team. So what do you like in DFS for this game, Steve?
Yeah, it's tricky with the back-to-back. I don't like that. We don't have information really about the Nashville goalies. We had a chat about this in our Slack chat. People were asking about goaltenders on Nashville there. I don't hate the price on Saros, 7,800, but without knowledge of who the goalie is, if you're playing multiple lineups, I don't like the late swap scenario for goalies in general, to have to worry about that situation, keeping up on news throughout the middle of the night. And then on top of that, Chicago hasn't been a very good matchup for opposing goalies. So I probably just leave the Nashville goalies out of a lot of my MME builds.
Yeah.
Maybe if you're just playing a handful of lineups and it's easy to keep an eye on that situation, sure, that's fine. But in general, I just don't love goaltenders against Chicago because they don't, the combination of shots for versus how many goals they score is not really worth it for goalies.
Right, yeah. So like the theoretical, like his upside is capped, whereas he's got a very good floor because of the win equity and stuff. He's probably going to grade out as one of the top goalies, and he's not 8,300 like you usually see for the top projected goalies. I think he might become a little bit more popular than he should be, so I'm right there with you. I just really like Yossi again for 6,400. He's just shooting like every single time he gets the puck, it seems like. He's getting rewarded for it. So results aside, like he's just shooting at an insane rate, and Chicago gives up a bunch of chances, bunch of shots. Home, road, it doesn't really matter, and no Crawford. So it's just, I think, another really good spot for both Yossi and Ellis.
Yeah. And if you're talking forwards, I'd probably, again, lean with the Johansson line. Just looking at their high danger chance numbers are very strong for. They're also weak defensively. And the Taves line is very similar, too. They're not as strong offensively there with their high danger numbers, but they're equally poor defensively. So you could see a high variance spot right there, high event matchup.
Yeah, Johansson line. That's the one that I'm looking at as well here. And then I don't really like Anisimov with Kane on that second line with no DeBrincat. That Strome, DeBrincat, Kane line was fun for a couple games, but probably going to lay off any Chicago stacks in my 20 non-main lineups. Yossi or Burns tonight? If you had to choose just one, what would you
Yossi.
Me too. That one's not even that close for me, honestly.
No.
All right. Anything else in this game you want to mention?
Not really. I don't love the back-to-back, and I don't like the way Nashville runs their lines. Chicago's also splitting off all their talent into pairs, so it's just tricky to stack this, to use stacks in this game in general.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really good one-off plays, but I mean, if you're stacking either of the lines in this game, you're likely to have one or two guys do well, but the other guy do nothing.
Right. Yeah.
I kind of hate that, especially on a big slate, which is likely to have some really high scores. So.
Agreed. All right. Before we get to the next game, we are in the home stretch of the 24 days of giveaway. This is a gift from Osmo to our subscribers, our people that help us continue to do this and our shows for free. So for this week, the giveaway is a free month of the All Access Pass for Osmo.com Premium. So what that means is you'll get access to everything on the site besides the Fantasy Cruncher add-on. If you comment on this video, and you have to like it as well. So there's a bunch of you in here. If you comment on the actual video after it's done and like it, you will be entered in, and a winner will be randomly chosen every single day this week. And then that will lead up to the grand prize at the end, which is, I think, something you guys will really, really like. A year-long subscription to Osmo.com, all access for free. That's a $700 value. So you can keep building up additional entries each day in each video that you comment on. So do that. Today for our comment, we'll just do highest scoring lines. So comment who you think the highest scoring line is going to be. Give us a like, and then you will be entered into the drawing. All right. The Flames and the Dallas Stars, we have a 3.1 implied total for the Flames, 2.9 for the Stars. David Rittich going up against Ben Bishop. Some line changes on the Stars here. No Radulov on the top line with Sagan and Ben. It's got to be Denis Gurianov.
I'm going to go with Dennis. I
Dennis?
think. Yeah, Dennis.
Yeah.
He's Russian, so
okay.
I don't know.
He's $2,900 in skating with Sagan and Ben, so that's going to get the attention of some people. I really loved Dallas 1 when I thought it was going to be the big three, but now, like, thinking about how this is going to affect ownership, I think Dallas 1 is going to be a little bit chalky because they're going to pop in optimizers. So I've cooled off on them a little bit, and I really liked when Radulov was on that top line with Sagan. How has this affected you, Steve?
I like him more with Gurianov.
You do?
He's $2,900.
Well, yeah.
Lowers the price.
That's true.
Big time. He's half the price of Radulov. They're tougher to shut down when you split it up a little bit across the lines. Gurianov's pretty sick offensively. He's got talent. I think it's a good fit in general. I don't love the matchup with the Flames. Like, the Flames are a good team. We've talked about it a number of times how good they are at even strength. But still, both of the top two lines are giving up a decent amount of high danger chances defensively, and Ben and Sagan are good at generating them. So as long as Gurianov's along for the ride, it makes them the cheaper option.
Do you think he stays up there?
See how the results go, but I don't know. It's hard to say. I would expect they give him a shot for the game.
Okay. Yeah. it just seems like Sagan, Ben, and Radulov always find their way back together at some point.
Depends what kind of success they're having in general, how the game's going. The Stars are much better at home, though. Much better at home.
Yeah. And I think that the Sagan and Ben line's probably going to see the majority of their time against Monahan, Gaudreau, and Lindholm, who they've been better defensively for sure after that first few weeks of the season where they were like the worst line in the league as far as giving up high danger chances. So they've been much better, but still, I think 12.3 per 60 they're giving up. So it is still a fine matchup for Sagan and Ben, kind of the lesser of two evils. They don't have to face the back end line if they don't want to. And then Gurianov, probably going to be chalky at the higher stakes, right, at 2,900. Is he like a cash play? I don't really know how that works. People just plug him in.
Yeah, I don't know how his floor is, but I'd plug him in 2,900.
Yeah, I figured. Yeah, I don't know. I just really wanted to play Radulov and Sagan and Ben together, but
you can still do that for the power play. Or actually, no, I don't even know if they're going to go
on PP2.
Well, the way they listed, I don't know if they've actually been doing that. Have they?
They did it last game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of sucks, but it's been working for the power play, so right. I don't know.
And then they have, speaking of power play, they have this Taylor Fadoon at 3,800, who I kind of like a little bit. He saw, I think, 18 or 19 minutes last game, and they did score on the power play. So I would imagine they at least give him another shot there.
Yeah, he's with the Radulov-Sagan power play unit, so
yeah,
I do like that. If he was on the other unit, I'd be less likely to play him.
Agreed. I don't know, what else do you have in this game? You like anything on Calgary's side? Either of the top two lines?
Dallas is good at home, so I think that Calgary might be a touch overpriced, like their top line. Second line, just mixed feelings about them.
Yeah. Zarnik up there is tough.
Yeah, so they have good possession numbers at 5-on-5. That second line looks pretty good, but it's only a 48-minute sample there. Defensively, they're giving up 15 high danger chances per 60, and the top line's giving up 12.5. So I'm not really worried about any matchup there. If the Dallas offense can get going here, it's not really a bad spot, as bad as a spot as it looks on paper.
Yeah, I mean, I really like Sagan for 7K, and then like I mentioned, Fadoon is also fine. I don't know if I'm going to end up full stacking this on my main lineup though.
Yeah.
So we'll see, but want to definitely try to get in Sagan. I really like him for 7K. Bishop or Rittich or any of these defensemen you want to talk about?
Yeah, we talked about Fadoon. He's fine to include there. Don't mind that. Giordano is very strong. Has been a very, very strong play, but he's expensive too. So you're going to get good value. Like you're going to get a good output from him, but I don't know from a value perspective if he's going to be the top value on the slate. Of course, he's a good pay-up option there, but sure. Dallas kind of limits everything at home.
Yeah,
they haven't been giving up a lot of goals at home, so that's the one knock on Calgary in this matchup for me.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm worried about with Calgary too. So, or Calgary also, I should say. Both Calgary lines and Giordano just super expensive, and like I mentioned, Yossi's kind of the guy I'm targeting in that range, if I can.
Yeah.
All right, you ready to move it on to the next one?
Sure.
St. Louis and Edmonton, we have a 2.7 implied total for the Blues, 3.2 for the Oilers. Jake Allen, Cam Talbot in net. Oilers lines looking like they're going to stay the same, at least the top line. Second line under some construction there, it looks like. And then the Blues mixed up their lines. They've got Schwartz back with Shen and Tarasenko, O'Reilly with Steen and Perron on the second line. I don't really love this game. I don't know about you. What do you see here, Steve?
I like the top lines of both teams. I think the St. Louis top line's a really strong value. Edmonton, defensively, they're the top two lines, or at least the top line's not good defensively at all. Sure. Giving up a ton of high danger chances against and shot attempts against. And in the time we've seen Shen, Schwartz, and Tarasenko together, they've been really strong as an offensive unit. And they're only 15.8K on DraftKings, only 18K on FanDuel. So just amazing value. We got Talbot in net instead of Koskinen. So I like that as well for them. Yeah, I'll have some exposure to both top lines, but obviously that Blues top line is a really strong value.
Yeah. You pointed it out. I guess I shouldn't say I don't really like anything in this game. It's hard not to like that value, especially because we do have a sample with Schwartz, Shen, and Tarasenko together. Tarasenko at 6K just kind of looks weird. Like, he's never priced that low. Shen and Schwartz, kind of same thing. So their price will come up. You're not going to be able to play them this cheap if they stay together. And Edmonton does give up quite a few high danger chances. So definitely understand that one. And Parayko is only 4,700 and on the top power play as well. I guess I was more looking at the Edmonton side. I don't really love that top line when we're looking at some of these high-priced other lines.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, they're a little expensive, I would say.
Edmonton won, allowing 17 high danger chances per 60. That's crazy. What else? Anything in chat? Senko overrated? Okay. Yeah, I don't know. What else do you have in this game? Anything you want to mention?
Just those top two lines are the only thing in consideration for me.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Nurse up to 5,700 DK, really quick to react there. So he's kind of priced out for me. Yeah, I guess it's just Parayko for me here. And then no real interest in Talbot. Allen would be fine, I guess, as a correlation play, but still don't really love him. I think I'd rather go with like a Kincaid.
Carter
Hart too. Yep. your boy. 100% Carter Hart for you.
I'll have more than my allotted 15% in MME, I think.
Okay. Oh, you're gonna let him.
Yeah, I'm gonna let him beat the cap there.
Okay.
It seems like such a strong value. I mean, it's not often you get a min-priced goalie who's that big of a favorite at home. So
that's true. I'll be rooting against him on my main team, though, I think. So we'll see. Unless I...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm going to take some bold stands against him in some high-stakes contests for sure.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but I just would rather not play goalie chalk with one lineup. Couldn't get buried right away. All right. Islanders and Coyotes. We have a 2.7 implied total for the Islanders, 2.9 for Arizona. Robin Leonard, Darcy Kemper in net for their teams. Islanders on a back-to-back after an impressive road win last night in Colorado. Limited Colorado won pretty nicely there. So $23,800 Colorado won did not get there last night. Connor Garland is someone that people might have some interest in, skating with Schmaltz and Keller. That line is super cheap, back-to-back, like I mentioned, for the Islanders. Are you looking at Arizona 1 here or anything else in this game?
Yeah, they're pretty cheap. Arizona's always a good value, but they have a hard time scoring goals. So Clayton Keller, it's 4,800 is a very strong value. He's a really good player. So if I'm going to play anyone on this team, it'll be correlations surrounding him, whether it be the first line or a power play stack with him involved in it, something like that. Yeah. One thing to note on the Islanders side, I think I read that Nelson is a game time decision with an injury
yesterday.
Yeah, so that could change things on the Islanders side too. Anytime you lose a center, it really hurts your team, shifts everybody up and all that.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't even think about that. I guess I'm not really targeting this game super heavily outside of the obvious value in Arizona 1.
I think both goalies are reasonable targets too. It's the lowest total game on the slate.
Sure. Yeah, you even like Leonard for 77? Are you a Leonard fan? I can't remember.
No, I'm indifferent.
Okay.
He hasn't been great lately, but Coyotes are in general a pretty decent matchup.
Yeah, it seems like there's a bunch of cheap goalies today that are favorites, like way more than usual. You've got Hart and I guess Kincaid's not a favorite, but Kemper 7,400. I don't know. It seems like all the goalies are kind of priced down for whatever reason.
And I like that.
Yeah, makes it easier for us, I guess.
Yeah.
Anything else here that is appealing to you? Ekman Larson, Chychrun, either of these guys, 4,800, 3,700, and then do you want to take a shot with any of these Islanders defensemen?
I do like Ekman Larson there on the top power play unit. I know Chychrun's there. He's not as good of an offensive player, I wouldn't say. Decent floor play, and he's much cheaper, but still. So I like that. On the Isles, there's tons of reasonable plays. Anyone but Letty is good.
Yeah, just never gets there. Just never does.
Just don't play Letty.
Pulak is my guy that I always like for 4,300. So that'll be the guy I get to if any of these Islanders at all.
Him and Boychuk they both stand out a little bit.
Yeah, I wish Boychuk got power play time. That's the only issue here.
Yeah, he gets second unit, I think, something like that.
No, he doesn't. He's not listed on the power play right now.
No.
Yeah. Pulak's on the second power play, Letty on the first, and that is it. People talking about...
Well, he scored a power play goal last night.
Did he really?
Yeah. Second unit.
Okay. Well, then
With
daily
Pulak.
faceoff must be wrong. Boychuk got a second PP unit goal last night. There you have it. All right. Well, then all the Boychuk, I suppose. All right. Lightning and the Vancouver Canucks, 3.6 implied total for Tampa, 2.9 for Vancouver. We don't know who is going yet for Tampa. Is that correct? And then Anders Nilsson at 6,600, the cheapest goalie on the slate. This is a excellent power play spot for Tampa. So are you expecting them to be one of the highest owned lines of the night?
Yeah, I think they should be. It's a really good spot. But yeah, the power play is the best matchup, I think.
Mm-hmm. So Vancouver, they're like top 3 in time shorthanded this year, and then you've got Kucherov, Stamkos, Johnson, Point, who's been awesome on the PP, Hedman just for 5,600. I don't know. They're priced up. I think Corsi's trolling in chat. Huge total as well on the road here. What do you do with Tampa here?
I think I really like Hedman, 5,600, by the way, on that top power play unit. Really, really like that. I think he's one of the better values.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know. I think you could do 3-man stacks like Point, Kucherov, Hedman, Stamkos, Gourde, Hedman, I guess. I don't know. I like Tampa in general. Last time the two teams played, they played in Tampa. Nelson beat them 4-1. So kind of interesting there. I don't know. I like Tampa in general. I think it's a good spot. I'm trying to figure out where I would go on Vancouver if I went there.
I like the Horvat bullet. So I think I was talking about this earlier in chat. So the Horvat line's going to hard match Stamkos, or not Stamkos. I would assume they're going to hard match Point, Johnson, and Kucherov. And just going to see a bunch of ice time. Horvat sees over 20 minutes some games, which is a lot for a forward. And then this trio, Roussel, Eriksson, and Horvat together last game did a good job not only limiting the McDavid line, but they also created quite a few chances of their own. It's just one game, and I don't like Roussel or Eriksson, but I just think Horvat's a solid value for 4,800, and looks like Osmo agrees. A points grade, A value for 4,800, so he's with me there, and you can even go with like a double stack with Edler and Tanev, either Edler or Tanev, I should say, with Horvat, because they're going to basically play the whole time together, if I'm right on the hard match with the Kucherov line.
Yeah, if you look at their underlying numbers there, I think they've played 35 minutes together so far this year.
Yeah. And
yeah, it's 65 shot attempts 4 per 60. So they're right in line with all 3 Tampa Bay lines as far as shot attempts. And then the high danger chances for 16, high danger chances against 1.5.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the thing I saw. I was like, I think they've only given up 1. They gave up 1 to the McDavid line last game. And it's only been a couple games because they're playing so many minutes. Mm-hmm. But they have been good. And you don't have to play Roussel and Eriksson if you don't want to. Like, Horvat's actually a solid player. So. Yep.
Well, then you think if they do go against Point and Kucherov, we've seen their defensive numbers aren't spectacular. Right. So, yeah, no, I think that's a good kind of under the radar play there. I think Horvat's a good value tonight. The Besser line's been scoring all the goals, but if you look at their underlying numbers, they don't really support that. It doesn't really scream sustained success there.
Yeah, they're kind of low event, if I remember looking at them a couple games ago.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, Besser's priced up. Pedersen, it's a fair price, I think, for that line, but just not one that's catching my eye. And if I am indeed right about the Horvat line matching Point, Johnson, and Kucherov, like I don't really like the defensive matchup with the Stamkos line or Cirelli, Killorn, and Miller either. So I'd rather just go elsewhere in that range.
Looking at, okay, never mind. I was going to say that Goldobin line looked pretty weak defensively, but they're not really going to see. They're pretty much the fourth line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got that. Goldobin and Virtanen.
Because I was going to say potentially Tampa 3 back in play again.
Yeah. At home, like when Tampa 2 or Tampa 1 is chalk, they're just like the best play on like a shorter slate just because they are really good. They get power play time, and they're always cheaper, and they're always way less owned. So, I don't know.
Well, I like a line like that when you know it's going to be a hard matching scenario. You know exactly who they're going to play against most of the time. So I like going there when the matchups aren't great for the top two.
Yeah.
I think they're just decent matchups. But yeah, sorry about that. Street noise in Toronto. But yeah, in general, I was kind of on that Point Kucherov line. I think they're the better line in general, and with the power play matchup is solid. But I think you can look at the Stamkos line potentially as well.
Yeah.
For the depth lines.
Yeah,
maybe get off a little of the Point Kucherov combo.
Sure. That's fair. I think I'm going to mostly end up on Point, Kucherov, and Johnson in my 20 others, but didn't get there in my main lineup, at least not yet, and I don't think I will get there. But they're definitely in contention for like a single entry. Garbage truck. All right, we got to move it a little bit quickly on this last game. I bet there's not a ton to talk about, but we've got an NBA show coming on after us. Jets and Kings, 3.2 implied total for the Jets, 2.7 for the Kings. You mentioned some Winnipeg 1 interest earlier today in Slack. You want to talk about them?
I assume they'd be popular just based on what Shifley's done lately. He's 14 points in his last 5 games. And this is a very strong power play matchup for the Jets. Best power play against 28th ranked penalty kill. Just overall a great spot for the power play here. And the Kopitar line hasn't been as great defensively as far as shot attempts and all that. They're not so bad on the high danger chances, but I think that's a reasonable spot. And then you'll probably see the line A Connor little line go up against the depth of the Kings. So there's some potential there. And the two of them are on the power play as well. So, but in general, it's the Jets power play for me here. Love Bufflin in the spot.
Yeah, Jets power play. Bufflin at 6K. A little cheaper than a guy like Yossi or Burns or Carlson. So really, really like that as well. And then I don't really have anything on the Kings. I guess if you wanted to go super cheap, you could go with this Carter, Kempe, Toffoli line. Seems like there's some offensive talent now that they're put together and they're just ultra cheap. But one lineup for me, no chance. In 20, I might get 1 or 2 shares, and I'm good with that because they'll probably see some decent even strength matchups against most likely the little Connor line A line, which isn't good defensively. Anything else on this game? Anything else on this slate you want to talk about, Steve?
Not really to add. I think that Hellebuyck's a decent value at the top range. The 7,900 there hasn't been great lately, but it's the Kings, so
all right,
play him.
Awesome. So 11 games. Stay within your limits tonight. I know that don't chase the big prizes if you're getting out of your comfort zone. But yeah, some good top prizes for sure. So hopefully one of us in here can take it down. Comment your top scoring line after this video is done, and like for the entry into the giveaway. And it's free, so do it. All right, you want to send us out of here, Steve?
Just good luck tonight, guys. Hopefully someone takes something good down for us.
Yeah, let's do it.